We live in a world that's just buzzing. You hear these huge words all the time: AI, nanotechnology, biotechnology. It's all incredibly exciting, but let's be honest, it can also be pretty overwhelming. And in this age of mind-boggling complexity, the real trick, the secret sauce, isn't just about creating more complex stuff. It's about finding clarity. But how do we actually do that, right? We hear the buzzwords constantly. AI-powered this, biotech-driven that. But seriously, have you ever just stopped and wondered, what do people in these jobs actually do all day? If you have, don't worry, you are definitely not alone. It can feel like you've been handed a map to a new city, but it's written in a language you've never seen before. And look, it's not just you feeling this way. That feeling is totally spot on. A study I saw from the Journal of Advanced Technological Education just hit the nail on the head. They said for fields like biotech, the job titles are mysterious, the work is unclear, and the path to even get started is basically invisible. So yeah, that feeling of being a little lost, it's real. So this is what it all boils down to. In a world that is this complex, this noisy, maybe the most valuable skill isn't trying to know everything. It's knowing how to find a clear path through the noise. And that's exactly what we're going to dig into here. The different kinds of tools, from personal career maps to corporate compasses, that people use to find that precious clarity. Okay, so let's start small. Let's start on a personal level, with you. How do you map out your own career? How do you even begin to demystify this professional world that sometimes feels like it's designed to be confusing? Okay, get this, because I find this absolutely fascinating. Take a degree in biology. What comes to mind? Probably doctor or researcher, right? I mean, that's what I thought. But just look at this list. A medical illustrator, a forensic scientist, a patent agent. The world of possibilities is so much bigger and weirder than you'd think, which is exactly why you need some kind of map. And that is exactly where tools like biotechcareers.org come in. Think of it as a career map, for real. It's built to take those invisible paths and make them totally visible, pulling everything together. Job descriptions, company info, what you need to learn. And it shines a light on something super important that's easy to miss. You don't always need a PhD to have an amazing career in a field like biotech. These tools help you see all the different ways in. So how does a map like this actually work? Well, it's pretty cool. It gives you a bunch of different ways to start exploring. You can look at people and see the real journeys others have taken, or check out places to see who's hiring and where, or just dive right into jobs and see what's open. It gives you these different entry points so you can tackle it from whatever angle makes the most sense to you. Okay, so that's the personal map for your career. But this exact same need for clarity, it exists on a way bigger scale. So let's zoom out, way out, to the corporate level. Because companies, just like people, need a tool to find their way. They need a corporate compass. I mean, just think about it. You've got tons of competitors, market trends are shifting all the time, new tech is popping up every other day. How on earth does a business cut through all that chaos to find its own unique spot? The answer is a tool called competitive analysis. And right off the bat, let's just get one thing straight. This is not, I repeat, not James Bond stuff. As one of the sources I read hilariously pointed out, this isn't about spying or corporate espionage. It's a totally legit ethical business practice of just systematically gathering info that's already out there, in the public, to understand your own strengths and weaknesses in the market. And it's not some random guessing game either. It's actually a really structured 6-step process. You start simple. Who are you even up against? Then you gather what you can find publicly, analyze what they're good at and what they're not, and then you use all that intelligence to build your own strategy. It's a super methodical way for a company to find its own true north in a really competitive sea. So we've gone from a personal map to a corporate compass. Now let's zoom out one last time to the most fundamental level of all. What about finding clarity for just a single idea or even a single word? Let's use a term you have probably heard a million times by now: deep learning. It sounds pretty straightforward, right? But what does it actually mean? Well, as it turns out, the answer completely depends on who you're asking. And this is where things just get wild. A deep dive into the research shows there are two totally different scientific communities using the exact same term. On one hand, you've got the tech world, where deep learning is all about AI, big data, and neural networks. But then you go over to the world of education, and it means helping students have joyful, mindful, meaningful learning experiences. Same two words, but they're living in completely different solar systems. So how in the world do you build a clear blueprint out of that kind of mess? Well, you have to get super systematic.
In this case, researchers had to wade through 900 different articles, using this really strict framework just to boil it all down to the 22 core sources. That's the kind of heavy lifting it takes to forge a truly clear definition out of all that noise.
So you see the pattern here, right? It doesn't matter if we're talking about one person's career, a whole company's strategy, or just a single idea. The core challenge is always the same. In a world that is just drowning in information, how do you find clarity?
And we've looked at 3 really powerful types of tools for doing just that. We saw personal maps that can light up a career path, corporate compasses that guide business strategy, and these deep conceptual blueprints that can bring a sharp, clear definition to a single, fuzzy idea.
And all of this kind of leaves us with one big final thought, doesn't it? In a world of constant change and just endless information, maybe the most important skill of all isn't knowing all the answers, but mastering the art of finding them.